Hey guys, can you guys hear me okay? Okay. Yeah, John, I got it. Give me 1 second, man. Okay, is that a little bit louder? Are we good now?
I'm still
Hey,
good.
TMOT, you can hear me?
Audio is a little choppy. Matt, we're having a thunderstorm out here, so if I all of a sudden drop out, it's because the power flickered.
The power went out. Gotcha. Okay. Well, everyone, if you're not aware of who this is, which I'm pretty sure everyone in this room is aware of who our guest is tonight, we have TMOT, the Minister of Truth, Minister Derek Grayson. So I'm very excited to have him back. He was actually on the first show, and he did a phenomenal job. So I thought I would bring him back because I just saw some photos that made me about as jealous could get. So I figured we got to bring this guy back on so we can hear about the experience of actually Ron Paul, Tom Davis, Jack Hunter, all these other great people. So, TMOT, if you TMOT, what browser are you on? Are you on Chrome or are you on something else?
I'm on Chrome. You need me to get on IE?
I don't know. You on? What do you think?
I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I can get on IE. Is there a problem?
No, you sound good. I guess it's just if the audio is choppy for you on your end, hearing us.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, you're coming through okay, and it might be on my end because we got this storm going here.
Okay, perfect. So basically, you traveled from Georgia to South Carolina to go to this event, correct?
Yes, I did. And you know what, Matt? I'm going to go ahead and change browsers
Okay, not a
because I want to make sure I catch what you're saying. So if you'll give me uh, a minute or two to load up IE, I will reconnect.
not a problem.
I'm gonna do it. All right.
So while we're waiting now for
So I'm gonna
Timon to
drop this one and click right back with you.
get I hope he's changing browsers, not trousers. I hope we didn't scare him that much. But did anyone else see these photos that T-Mod had of him and Ron Paul? There's this photo that I saw that is probably the best I've seen of Ron Paul. His facial expression when he realized who he was actually talking to. His face just lit up, and he just had this gigantic smile, and it was pretty good. I'll see if I can find it really quick. I'll put a link out there. 1 second. Give me 1 second, man. All right. TMOT stands for the Minister of Truth. You know what? I actually don't know who Review Manify is. Don't judge me. I gotta find a tiny URL really quick. It's way too long of a look otherwise. Make it tiny. All right, link's coming up in 1 second. There's the link to the photo of Timot actually meeting him. When I say him, I mean Ron Paul. But then actually, let's see if I can find. Here it is, right here. And then I'll show you the other one. Thanks, Shane. I appreciate it. Did you guys see the other photo that I put up, that other link? Oh, you probably have to be you probably have to be his friend. Yeah, Johan, do that if you can, please. Thanks, Simon. All right, and TMOT is back. We're approving him right now. All right. Audio is better now?
Yeah, it is. I enabled that HD. That might have been why the feed was coming in choppy on my end.
Gotcha.
But I'm good now, so.
Perfect. Well, John, you actually should come up and show that one photo, the one where Ron Paul's really surprised. I'd like to hear the story from TMOT, actually. Have him describe this, because that photo is just awesome. It's I can't even give it justice to describe Ron Paul's face when he actually realizes who he's talking to.
He was as surprised as I was, because I said he was as surprised as I was. I've been told the Ron Paul campaign knew who I was. I've been in touch with a young lady by the name of Deb, who is his events coordinator, and she had told me that he and his wife had seen my videos, and I said, "Oh, okay, well that's great." But when I got there and I walked up to him, I said, "How you doing, Dr. Paul?" He said, "I'm doing fine. I'm doing." I say, "I'm all right." I say, "Do you know who I am?" And that's when he said, "Oh, I know you. You're the guy that makes the videos in your car. I've seen those." I said, "Yes, sir. That's me." And I didn't ask him. Everybody's been asking me, "What did you ask him about?" The RNs. I didn't ask him any questions. I essentially encouraged him. I said, "Dr. Paul, you keep doing what you do the way you do it. We've got your back, and I can certainly tell you, you've got all of my support." And we shook hands, took a couple of pictures, and he signed the photograph. And, I let him need to deal with, because there was a lot of folks that wanted to shake the man's hand, and I can understand why. It was, in fact, indeed an honor for me to finally meet him after talking about him all these months. But I felt like I already knew him just from things that I've heard the man, the things that I have read about him. And it is just amazing to me, Matt, that there is many people out there that don't, when it comes to what Ron Paul is all about.
Right. So that was actually the first time you ever got to meet him then, down in South Carolina.
Yes. It was the second time I had seen him in person, but the throngs of crowds was just so massive. I didn't attempt to see him. I was invited up to Philadelphia as a VIP guest at a rally there, and I did not get an opportunity to shake his hand, but I did hear him speak. But this time, I not only heard him speak, I got an opportunity to have a few words with him. So it was a great experience.
Actually, I saw you in a ad for Gary Johnson. Your voice, I don't think that, I believe they took what you were saying kind of out of context, because you and I both know who you're voting for this year, and there's no Gary or Johnson in this man's name. It was actually on YouTube, some of your clips, some Alex Jones, some other people, and they combined it, and it was actually a Gary Johnson ad. It was like a 5 or 6 minute ad, and it had Golden State, the song Bombs, in the background. So I don't know if they talked to you about that or not, but I thought it was kind of ironic that they used your voice in a Gary Johnson ad on YouTube.
Yeah, I have not seen that ad. So I told Gary Johnson, 2016, if Ron Paul is not in it, then I'll talk about my support. But I have not researched uh, Gary Johnson to determine whether or not I would want to vote for him. I will say this, and people take issue with me on it. As a There are two things that I consider when voting. One is the Constitution, whether or not a person is about following the Constitution. And secondly, as a Christian, if Ron Paul supported abortion, I would not vote for him. Um, I believe as Ron Paul, it is an issue that belongs to the state. The federal government has no business being in it. Uh, I should be able to vote on that on a state level, and given an opportunity to vote against abortion, I would. And so that's my stance on that. So if Gary Johnson were to say, well, I'm going to do all that I can to ensure that Roe v. Wade stays in place, he won't have my vote. But if he were to say the federal government has no business engaging in whether or not it's the law of the land, I would vote for him on that principle alone, because he would allow the states to, determine what that state would do, and that's how I roll on those issues. So when I vote from a Christian moral perspective, as well as a constitutional one.
No, I agree with you. Those are definitely some of the main reasons why I support Ron Paul too. And I've looked into Gary Johnson a little bit more, and I mean, we as libertarians and Ron Paul supporters, we always talk about how we can't just vote for the lesser of two evils. And I believe that Gary Johnson isn't exactly an evil person, but there are issues that I disagree with him on, just like how he's talking about aid, I believe, to Israel, and also just humanitarian wars. He's pro-choice and stuff like that. And those are some pretty main things where I disagree with him on. So when we still have a candidate, regardless of what people say his chances are, I'm going to stick with him so his chances are the highest they can be. Plain and simple, if we start abandoning ship before it's finally gone its full course, we're never going to know what the end result could have been. So that's why I'm staying 110% with Ron Paul all the way through. And I honestly think that Gary Johnson, if anything, is just going to steal votes away from Ron Paul, and it's just going to split the libertarian vote this time around. So maybe when there's not a Ron Paul in the election up against Gary Johnson, sure, then we can go with whoever our best person is, because we do have to try to stick together behind the libertarian voice and try to give him support. But right now, when Ron Paul is still in there, I'm sorry, I'm going to piss people off, but I'm going to vote Ron Paul. No matter how many people say Gary Johnson has a better chance, he's going to be on the ballot, he's going to be in the debates, I don't care. I'm still voting for the person who is the top choice. He's my man, and I'm going with him.
Matt, you and I both echo the same sentiment. I have people that get upset with me, but you're going to be helping Obama to win, or but you know what? I don't need to repeat what you just said. I agree with you, brother. Ron Paul all the way. When you make a commitment, you stick to it. And it's as simple as that. I take my commitment to Ron Paul as seriously as the got married, and that is I want my wife to bury me. So, believe it or not, I do all that I can to, that will take place. So that's it. I'm as serious about that with whom I chose for the presidential, uh, my presidential pick, and I will not alter that course. I'm going to stay the course until the end. I will not jump ship, and people need to understand that. And I'm not really surprised about people in the liberty movement acting like people do in the Republican or Democratic Party. It's all the same flavor. We feel that one thing ain't working. Well, work this. Where's the press say go next? And that's what we do. And a lot of people listen to the press. They get disheartened. I've heard of and seen people in tears because they thought something did not go their way. It's okay if you get a little down, but you get back up and you keep the fight going. Importantly, we as constitutional uh, supporters, as supporters of the Constitution, need to understand this is more than just about Ron Paul, and we need to look at the foundation that Ron Paul has laid, pick that up, and continue to move forward with that. And I'll give you an example. We have a guy here by the name of Gary Johnson. There's a photograph on Facebook of Ron Paul and I with holding the guy's hat. This guy won here in Georgia. Trust me, when I say it was boots on the ground, it was boots on the ground. I mean, people were out there knocking on doors, uh, signing, making phone calls. This guy, Charles Gregory, he beat a 7-term inning nothing here in Georgia, but just being the status quo. These are the types of victories that we need because guess what? If Ron Paul were in the White House without people like Charles Gregory, we couldn't get anything done. Sadly, we did not win with Greg Palin, who is in my district, but there were boots on the ground. I've still got his sign out there in my front yard. And, the election is passed. But there are other people, Tom Davis, that I went to Columbia with and met Ron Paul, who was there to support Tom Davis. They are speaking of this guy going up ultimately against, and I forget the politician's name, but it's Lindsey Graham, I believe that's the player speaking of. But this guy is vehemently stating, I support and I endorse Ron Paul. Ron Paul is my guy. And he's not afraid to say, I am a liberty-loving constitutionalist. And so, people don't realize how important the ground wars movement is, but this is something we have to keep going. And for me, if Ron Paul does not make it to the White House, what he has done to lay the groundwork, to me, this is our Boston Tea Party. That's what this is. Nothing short of it being our Boston Tea Party. But what's going to determine whether or not our Boston Tea Party is successful is whether or not we get up off our butt, continue to do what Ron Paul started. Remember, many of us, myself included, I only got on this bandwagon last October when I started researching and studying Ron Paul. So I'm new to the liberty movement per se. However, if I stop because Ron Paul does not get to the White House, then I'm a worthless piece of excrement, and I'll leave that. So.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the main goal is to get Ron Paul in the White House, but we have to understand it's a long process of actually restoring the country back to a republic, and it does start at the ground level and work our way up. That's why I'm running for city council. I hopefully can one day make it in there, make an impact on my city. I do live in a very conservative city. We have some of the lowest taxes in the whole state of Minnesota, and it's going to be a little bit harder. I'm going up against a person who's been on the board basically almost as long as I've been alive. So it's going to be pretty hard to get this guy out. By the time the election comes around, I'll be 24 years old. This guy will be in there for almost 20 years. So, but it's just everyone has to start somewhere and try to make an impact. Just because the president doesn't mean everything is going to fall into place. The Congress and the Senate are going to start obeying the Constitution. They're going to start doing their jobs. All of a sudden, we're going to have balanced budgets, and it's not going to happen overnight like that. Even if Ron Paul got in, it's not the final, I guess, piece of the puzzle. We need Biden getting the right people into the Senate, into the Congress, into state Senate, state Congresses, everything all the way to low, from city council all the way up to nation and the federal government. We can't stop just because we get Ron Paul in there. So, but TMOT, I wanted to read something. I've been getting probably 5 to 10 pieces of not really hate mail, but constructive criticism, I guess. And this one is literally like a 5-pager, but there's one paragraph that I'd like to read to you. He addresses you and I, because evidently he doesn't like that you don't support Gary Johnson, and he doesn't like that I don't like Gary Johnson. And now he's addressing you and I in this. He goes, I really expect more from both of you on this as leaders and voices in the liberty movement. That card you mark up will go straight into the trash can, because I told him I'm going to take a Sharpie marker and write Ron Paul on my ballot if I have to. And that will be how your whole run with Ron Paul ends, in the trash. There are no principles, honor, or valor in that. Anybody who thinks so are just trying to deal with themselves without considering the rest of the people in the movement. To me, this is a giant fail, and all this me, my way, it's about doing me, doing my thing, blah, blah, blah. It's just horse pucky piling up. It's really slightly diminishing my view of TMOT, because these hard-headed, stubborn people may be predictable, but they are not reliable to make adjustments where needed. Makes you wonder how many times in his life those bad tendencies have been the reason himself to others have suffered. Kind of like this. Honey, are you driving into a wall? This is the way I want to go, and I'm only doing things my way. Bam. You see what I mean? So basically, he's trying to say that you and I are not flexible, and he wants us to roll with the punches and just change our principles, evidently. So all of a sudden we can lower our standards and then vote for Gary Johnson. Is that how you kind of see it the same way I do?
Well, are riding on the same ship on that one. As far as this guy goes, I think what he fails to understand is it's about not compromising. He says it's not about principles, but in fact it is about principles. It's about not compromising our principles. For bottom line, Gary Johnson will not win, okay, in 220 years that has ever won. That's a fact. Fact number 2, our two-party system has it so rigged that they will never have a chance. It's always a circus trading clowns from two sides of the fence. That's all it's ever been. And the only way we will be able to change that is by getting people elected to both parties who will render the two-party system moot. These are facts that cannot be denied, period. George Washington, and I've said this before, warned us about the two-party system. So when I go in to vote, even if I were to vote for Gary Johnson, whom I know will not win, what it will say is I compromised my principle. I started out supporting Ron. That's who brought me to the dance. He has got my support until this is all said and done. And he will continue to have my support in how I fight on the battlefield. So this guy who says that it's my way or the highway, if that's the way you want to perceive me, then perceive me. It's my way or the highway when it comes to compromise. And let me tell you, I've been hearing some things in the background. This is another fact. Ron was offered a speaking spot with the RNC. However, there are several rumors as to what may be going on behind the scenes that I have not heard. But the one that I have heard, and other rumors, and I will tell you that one, is that Ron Paul will not be speaking because Ron Paul said, I will not shut up about the Fed. I will not shut up about these wars. I will not shut up about any of the things that I have been talking about for the last 30 years. I will continue to stand on the principles that I have always stood on. So you either accept me in whole or then I just won't be speaking. See, that's the kind of the harm I'm talking about when it comes to not compromising your principles. The man would say, then I won't speak. That's how important his principles and his integrity is to him. Somebody saw a picture of Chuck Suter, who was responsible for me even getting over to Columbia, South Carolina in the first place. And we just had this look of admiration because we saw this integrity standing right and not compromise himself. And some knucklehead on my Facebook page, you and Chuck look like y'all are ready to fall down and worship. And I said, I said something to him, but what he doesn't understand, I worship no man. I told him this was a look of admiration for integrity. The only entity that I worship is the Lord my God. That is it. However, I admire men of integrity because it gives me something to strive towards. Because I have been an individual, who lacked commitment, who lacked integrity, and in certain areas of my life, that's my past. And so every time I see a man that's standing to it, especially one that's been doing it in politics for the last 30 years, I know for a fact it is humanly possible for a person to have principles that they don't compromise under any circumstances. And so I'll turn it back to you, Matt.
I mean, you're exactly correct. I think that I would react the same way as you with admiration, but yet at the same time, I think I literally would be in awe of actually seeing Ron Paul, someone who's not corruptible, someone who has stuck to his morals and his principles for so many years. I think it would just be mind-blowing. I've never had the chance to meet him, and I really look forward to being down in Tampa, going down there, going to his rally on Sunday. And I'm going to go there so early. I'm going to try to get one of the first front rows right behind the delegates, so I have a good chance at maybe shaking his hand and getting a photo with him. I highly doubt I'll actually be able to talk to him for more than 10 seconds, but I don't know. It's not very often in my lifetime that I'll ever get to meet a person and get to shake his hand with someone who's so principled, honest, and just someone who has dedicated his life to serving us. So I think it will be an honor. It'll be one of the highlights of my life going down there. I can tell my kids, hey, look in the history books. Hopefully Ron Paul will be talked about well in the history books, because when we actually do end the Fed and our economy does go up and we get out of this deep, deep depression, Ron Paul will be seen as one of the most knowledgeable before his time politician. Just, he's out of this world. He's so far ahead of his time. He's nuts. That's why everyone perceives him as being nuts, because he's so far ahead of the majority of the mainstream media. He's just the crazy one. He's the outsider. But I think that it'll be amazing to be able to tell my children someday, we met Ron Paul. I supported Ron Paul. I was one of the men on the front lines fighting for Ron Paul, and we never gave up no matter what. So I just think that we're living in either some of the worst of times or some of the most amazing times probably in the history of America, because this could be the second revolution coming around now that we're talking about. I'm not talking about a physical fighting guns revolution, but I think we're in some type of renaissance period where we are wakening up again. We're being reborn. America is going to become the great America that it was once before, and I think it's amazing and it's electrifying to be living in these kind of times. So I'm really glad to be part of this, and people like you, TMOT, are the reason why I continue to do this, to see that I'm not the only one. There are other people out there fighting. Some people do it behind the scenes, like the majority of people in this room. Not everyone has to get up on YouTube, and not very many people have the the voice and the face like you do, TMOT. I got a face for radio, and you got just the whole persona of you. Just this calm, chill, relaxed kind of aura around you that people want to listen to. They gravitate to you, and they listen to whatever you say. So we're very lucky.
Well,
And
I don't know about them. I don't know about them listening to everything I say, Matt. Trust me, I have my detractors. They are far and wide. It's funny. I was speaking with some people today, and I started mentioning to them that Obama, it has been leaked that Obama, by way of executive order, was going to relax the welfare recipient criteria, essentially doing away with the requirements to have to work. And of course, Obama there coming out, well, that is not true. Of course, the Romney campaign put it out there, but it had been floating around prior, and the Romney campaign put it out there what he was going to do. It's easy for them to deny it because it was going to be done by way of the executive order, but it had not been done yet. But Obama didn't want that to get out there. But I had a guy literally get upset and walk out of the restaurant because of what I was saying. There are some people out there that know that this man is not right, him or Romney. I've seen him get upset on the GOP side. When you talk about things that Romney has done, there are people that get upset. And so it's good and comforting to me, Matt, to know guys like yourself that are supporters of liberty. And you made and the reason I'm bringing this up about people who get actually upset, fighting mad, Matt, it might take bullets. So it took bullets after the Boston Tea Party. It may come to that. I hope that it won't, that wake people up. But the problem is when you get enough people waking up and folk begin to take them seriously, people try to fight to maintain the old way. And trust me, we have been asleep so long at the wheel that Washington has gotten accustomed to sheeple that they rule and lord over. And it's going to be hard to wrestle that away from them, which is why, Matt, when you start your official campaign, I will be boots on the ground for you, buddy, because I want to see you get in there. And that's just it. And I'm real proud that you have said that you are telling people they should be doing. Voting is not enough. I was guilty of that. Wearing a pin is not enough. Making phone calls is not enough. None of it is enough. You can't say you've done enough until you actually got out there and really put out blood, sweat, and tears for this here cause of liberty, even up to the point of dying for it. And Matt, you are taking a big step, and I applaud you. Anybody out there listening to me, Matt is a young man. He said by the time the election comes around, he'll be 24 years old. That is absolutely amazing. When I see young people involved in politics, Matt, I'm 52 years old enough to be your father. And you say that you're going to run, trust me, you made my night tonight, my friend.
Well, thank you. I'm going up against a pretty hard guy, but I think that I'm gonna hopefully get a couple buddies out there with me going door to door. It's not that big of a ward that I'm in. I only live in a town of about 16,000 people, so it's not that big, but still going to take it as if I'm running for president. I'm going to take it that serious. I'm going to go out. I'm going to try to get pamphlets. Someone's messaged me about business cards. I'm going to get yard signs. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure as many people see my message as possible. I'll put links to all my YouTube videos. My YouTube channel will be on everything. I think that is a good way for people to get a pretty good idea of who I am, because the town that I live in is very conservative, so I think that will hit home with them pretty good. I'm a pretty conservative guy, fiscally conservative. Socially, I'm liberal on some things. I'm very human rights, but I'm not neoconservative. I can't even run for president in 2020. I think you'd have to wait until like 2030, somewhere around there. I don't even know how long it would take. So uh, I'm trying to do everything I can
Hmm.
to get involved with my town. I've met with the police chief tomorrow. I'm meeting with the finance director of the town. I'm trying to get to know what all the issues are for my town because I can't just base everything off of nationwide politics. I have to go to a city level and talk to the people and see what's important with them. Then tell them why I want to get into government, why I think I'd benefit them. I'm going to help their taxes continue to go down, or at least at the very worst, stay at the rate they are, and see how that goes. I mean, I got in an argument. One of my best friends, he always talks to me. He likes to give me a hard time because I'm constantly talking to Ron Paul. I'm always talking about me running for city council. He calls me a crazy conspiracy theorist. And actually, one of the greatest things happened finally. The FDA is considering lowering the acceptance of fluoride in water. And I've always been called a conspiracy theorist because I talk about how fluoride is bad for people. It gives you fluorosis. It hurts your teeth. It's been known in studies to possibly cause cancer, to make your bones brittle. There's many bad side effects from fluoride. And finally, Fox News came out 2 days ago talking about how fluoride is hurting people. They're going to lower the acceptable rate. Some people in the FDA want to ban it completely. But I think it's once people do some investigation, they'll realize that I am correct on 9 out of 10 things that I talk about. I might not always know the answer to your questions that you have for me, but I'm always willing to look up the answer and then get back to you. So when he asks me, Matt, why do you want to get into government? I thought you said that you want smaller government. And I told him that I will run with a very libertarian constitutionalist message. I want to get government to leave you alone. I mean, how crazy is that? I'm such a crazy person. I want to get into government to leave you alone and get the government out of your life. So he always asks me, well, what are you going to do when you get in there? Well, first of all, I'm going to push for the city to not take federal funding, to try to just work on their own budget, not depend on the federal government, because hopefully if Ron Paul gets in, he will end the FDA, the EPA, all these other things, the Department of Education, and then they'll have to be dependent on the state. Because if they ever want to get out of these No Child Left Behind programs, they have to be dependent on their own self to actually come up with your own programs, fund it on your own, and not have to suck on the teat of the government your whole life. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm kind of just rambling, but I could talk about what I'm going to run at and run for forever. I mean, there's so many issues where I think I could benefit my town and help them wake up to the outside and what the actual nation, like the national politics scene kind of looks like. And I think that me getting into city council, I think that that would maybe open people's eyes to candidates like Ron Paul or a Gary Johnson down the road, instead of just being neoconservatives stuck with the Romneys or the McCains and other people like that. I think that I hopefully would have a positive effect on them in their long-term voting record.
Have a positive effect with your outlook, and that is what we need. Without it, the country will continue on the path that it is. We have fostered an entitlement country. This used to be the place where people would flock to for opportunity, the ability to get out and achieve something for themselves. But what we have fostered in the last 20 years is a society of individuals who sit back and wait to see what the government is going to do for. I remember when people would receive unemployment for 13 weeks. Then it became 26 weeks. Then that got doubled. People would literally sit at home and they could earn as much money as they would make at, let's say, McDonald's. But why would they go work at McDonald's if they could get this money for free? I don't understand why politicians don't get that. But you know what? They do get that, and they know that's why they do it. The more people you have on the government team, the more dependent they will become on you, and the more votes you stand to gain by fostering that type of behavior. And those are the types of politicians that we need to boot out of Washington. It, it is beyond me, Matt, with a lot of things that I see, like Obamacare. They're requiring everyone to participate in that program, but they're excluded from it. And I don't understand why Americans don't say, wait a minute, hold up. I've got to have it, but they don't. What's wrong with this picture? But some people don't care, and this goes back to that one thing. There are many Americans, man, that don't have a dog in the fight. They're just some recipients, people that didn't have health care in the first place for whatever reason. They don't care because they are going to benefit because it's more than what they had, but it is nothing that they went out and earned. It's going to be paid for on the backs of the middle class. And the middle class is who Republicans and Democrats are decimating in this country. Now, here is Obama talking about executive order, loosening the requirement for people to receive welfare checks to not have to work. There's an article put out about Obama. I shared, I don't know if you saw it or not, Obama's plan that he is going to focus on if he gets in a second term of grabbing tax dollars from people in the suburbs to offset the goodies that he passed out to folks in urban areas. So this is all about attacking the middle class. The middle class is the backbone of this country. If you force them down to that level of where they're dependent upon government, then you have total control of the country. And so the last vestige of power in America without a bullet is that of the vote. And what we need to start doing with the vote is sending the bastards in Washington home and sending honorable men and women into local government, into state government, and finally into federal government to clean up that mess. It's going to be a hard job, but we got to remember, our job really is a lot easier than that of the first revolutionaries. Our job is a lot easier because we can do it at the ballot box. It required bullets for them. So, pick your poison.
Right. Yeah, I think we definitely have a chance to do it peacefully and through voting, at least right now. You're exactly correct. They had to do it with sweat, blood, and tears. We can do it with the stroke of a pen or a push of a fingertip on a screen. So we have to take advantage of that now while we still have this opportunity, because we don't want it to go to the next step. We do not want a violent revolution. I'm not calling for a violent revolution. And I feel like we're in some type of a police state, nanny state, when I feel like I have to worry about covering my checks when I say something like that. I mean, isn't that sad when we live in America right now to where we have to worry about what people are listening to? We can't even talk about revolutions without getting this weird kind of feeling on your back that, oh God, somebody might have just taken that the wrong way. Now I'm going to have DHS or FBI or somebody like that knocking on my door in like 7 hours. That's what kind of a system we're living in right now. That's why we need to change it with our votes, because we don't want it to go any farther. The NDAA, the Patriot Act, HR 347, all these unconstitutional, horrible bills that are into law right now, they're taking away our rights slowly and surely, and I believe they're going to start speeding it up even faster. So kind of one of those scary things. But I want to take questions. If anyone has any questions, if they want to come up on video or on audio, whatever they want, just pop up, click the Start Broadcasting button on the top left-hand side. We got TMOT for another 15 minutes. Basically, you click the Start Broadcasting
Matt, let me
button.
just say one last thing, a little bit of advice.
Go ahead.
Matt, just want to give you a little bit of advice. Your campaign, unless you're independently wealthy, you already know it's going to take money. Two things you want to do, pal. You want support nationwide. Uh, if we set trends supporting Liberty candidates nationwide, that's the route you want to go. You got 300 people, 300 plus people in this chat room. If all 300 people, you set yourself up a PayPal account. If all 300 people gave you $5, that's $1,500, and that'll take care of those business cards, those flyers, those pamphlets. Start now. Become a YouTube partner. Do the advertisements so that you can earn money. You're going to need cash, pal. And you get your PayPal account set up, I'll be one of the first people to donate to your campaign. I want to see you win. And this is what we need to start doing for every Liberty candidate. We want to support them financially across the nation. But more importantly, Matt, we want to continue to educate them. We want to continue to wake them up with the knowledge of the truth, because it is the truth that sets one free. So no, that was the only thing I had to say in terms of your campaign. Start raising fund now.
Oh, thank you. That's really good advice. I feel like somebody else gave me that advice too, but I can't remember. He's kind of this little annoying guy that he's like that voice in the back of your head. I think it's Yo on the other moderator here. He gave me very similar advice. I just kind of have, I'm very reluctant to ever ask for money, basically, but if people, I have someone else who I think was setting up, I think Shane's in the room too. I think he's setting something up. But yeah, that it's definitely a very good idea. I honestly, I think $1,500 is the very most I would need, just so you could put yard signs, maybe print 100 yard signs, some pamphlets and stuff, and some business cards. That would be the easiest way. But no, thank you. It's nice to hear people supporting me, knowing that I'm not doing this on my own, and I think it's a lot easier when you actually have support behind you nationwide too, so the word can spread a little bit faster. But let's see, did anyone want to come up on video and ask questions? Otherwise, text or audio questions would be great too. We got TMOT for another 13 minutes. I see one right here. Can Ron Paul still win the nomination, and how can he do it? Yes, he can still win. He needs the delegates to actually vote their conscience, vote for Ron Paul, plain and simple, and that's how he'll do it. I believe that if Ron Paul speaks, he'll be able to sway many of the Romney supporters over also. Not all of them are hardcore for Romney. I mean, there's articles coming out daily about how the base Republicans are not excited about Romney. They wish that there was someone else that they could vote for. Let's let them know Ron Paul is that person that they can still vote for.
I concur. Absolutely.
So many questions. Stealth delegates. That is a hard question. If they're doing their job, I can't tell you how many we have, because that's why they're stealth. So that one is unanswerable. Are the delegates actually unbound? Yes, I'm going with yes, they are. I believe through federal election laws, which we are going through right now, they are unbound. And I believe also they can nominate Ron Paul, because Rule 40 of the RNC, which is currently still in play, says that it has nothing to do with them being bound or unbound to anyone. You just have to have the plurality of delegates from a single state, totaling up to 5 states, to nominate someone. And Ron Paul has more than that. I mean, the media has gone from Ron Paul winning up to 10 states all the way down now to 4, because they're going on these technicalities where they say that they are his delegates, but they're bound to someone else on the first ballot. That has nothing to do with the nomination process. I think I found one for you, TMOT, if I can scroll back up. Okay. TMOT, you want to answer one about gun control?
What do they want to know?
They said...
I can throw out a few choice words.
What are your thoughts on gun control?
Dead.
What are
okay,
your thoughts
gun control is our fundamental right for one reason. Many of us think that gun control is about hunting and things of that nature, but the reason why that is in the Constitution is to protect us from a government bent on terrorizing the people. Uh, by maintaining a well-armed militia, and I'm talking about the farmers, the the dairy farmers, the plant farmers, the pickle farmers, the shoemakers, the horsemith, the blacksmith, whatever you have it. If you have people that are armed, the government is not as quick to go out and shed the blood of the people. And so that is the reason why we have the Second Amendment. I will not give up my right to own a gun, because the moment we do, we then become the subjects of the government. They will still have guns, and you know what else? The crooks will still have guns. And I don't know why everybody continues to jump on the bandwagon about it's no gun control that's creating the problems in this country. That is absolutely not true. We need more law-abiding citizens to own guns, to have guns in their homes. Crooks think twice before attacking you. But again, that is not the primary reason for the Second Amendment. The primary reason for the Second Amendment is to keep our government in check, and that's what we need to get back to. So forget about all the hunting, the crime, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is so our government thinks twice before coming into our homes unauthorized.
Very good. Ron Paul, you got a question for us?
Hi.
Ron Paul, can you hear us?
Hello.
If you're on push to talk, can anyone hear him? I can't hear him, sorry.
Nope, can't hear him.
Okay. Well, Dominic, let's hear your question.
Well, I just wanted to know, how long do you think before the general public realizes that their rights are being taken away?
Every day, I believe more and more
Well,
people.
I already know. Matt knows. You know, every day somebody wakes up. We got to keep crying, brother. That's how we wake them up, one by one. Every person that is awakened, that's another person into the fold. Every person that decides to run, like Matt, that's another person that we have that will be fighting on the inside. This is a process that is going to take time. So it's not about looking at someday when the general public knows. For the most part, the general public, they do know. However, they have been conditioned to believe that the government is doing what's best for the people. We bought the lie that the TSA was what we needed in order to protect us. We're even buying the lie that we're going into Iran because they want to have a nuclear weapon. Trust me, that's a shell game.
Yeah.
But we have been bred to believe and to accept the government as an entity that is doing what is best for us. And I'm going to make one analogy. I know my time is quick. Our government is a institution that was brought forth to provide for the well-being of the country. However, if you look at the Bible, for instance, the Bible is a great document just like our Constitution, but people take it and they bastardize it. I talk about this all the time. Our Constitution is a wonderful document, and I liken it unto the Bible. However, if we allow the wrong people to interpret the document for us, they bastardize it and corrupt what the document was intended for. And so this is where we get off the mark. But you guys, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Keep coming together. Keep having these discussions. Keep getting people in the chat room. Keep answering these questions, Mac. Keep spreading the word. Keep crying in the wilderness. And somebody will wake up every time you have a show. Somebody will have more information every time they leave your show, and that's what it's all about. It's going to take time, but it also requires boots on the ground. So you got to put your time in. You got to know which way you're going, and you got to keep up the good fight.
I'll tell you what, you have one more constituent in me, because this is what's going to get me to start making videos on YouTube. And, I hope I can, help somebody. Anybody
Even
got
if
any
You will. All you got to
Even
do is try.
even if you only help one person, you're helping one more person, and it's all going to start growing exponentially. So you got to start small and keep going. I still consider myself small. I don't reach as many people as I'd like to on a daily basis, and I want to expand. I want to keep going and just try to help more and more people. So, but there's a question Ron Paul tried asking, what are your thoughts on welfare?
It should be abolished.
I agree. I mean, anything that's not in the Constitution and it's just helping people get stuck on government assistance and worrying more and more about getting a job. I mean, people need to be worried about that instead of how long they can remain on welfare. They should be worried about going out there and getting themselves ready for the workforce. So I definitely agree. Let's see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Chuck asked me if I was coming to Charlotte on September 6th. The answer is yes, Chuck. I will be there.
Oh, somebody asked something. Oh, who's this one? All right, Luke, you got a question for us?
Hello? Hey, sorry about that cut out. Long-time fan. My question is, what do you think about the acts that are recently taking place in America that have to deal with guns, in specific the Batman and Wisconsin acts?
Are you asking me or?
Yeah.
Either one.
Well, I think they were horrible acts. People, since the beginning of time, murder is not going to stop. It has nothing to do with gun control. It has to do with bad people. And, in any society, you have to deal with bad. You deal with them accordingly. And, tragic as the incident was, more gun control won't prevent a determined criminal from going out and killing if that's what they have set their heart to do. If they don't use guns, they'll use billy clubs. They don't use billy clubs, they'll use steak knives. People want to kill, they're going to kill. The thing is to be prepared to deal with them when they come knocking. That's why I stay locked and loaded in my basement and in my bedroom. I'll just leave it at that.
Any other questions? Let's see. Thoughts on vote flipping? I haven't had a chance to really look into that much. I wouldn't doubt it with all the other dirty tricks that they've been having. Canada for Ron Paul wants to know, TMOT, do you own silver or gold?
Yes, I own silver. Haven't got to the gold yet.
Gold is very, very expensive. Silver is only right around like $36 or $40 an ounce, correct?
Yes, you can find it in some places for $30 an ounce, which is where I've been getting mine. So
it's time to stock up. So eBay. Okay. Let's see. How can I help a Libertarian Senate candidate in New York? Go door to door. I mean, I saw a question earlier. They're asking, what can a broke high school student do to help someone get elected or do what they can? And Yolan said it exactly, and so did TMOT. Boots on the ground. Get out there, go door to door, talk to people. It doesn't cost you anything to walk. Well, maybe New York. Who knows? I mean, there's probably consumption tax on sweat and oxygen in New York. But before Bloomberg makes it illegal to walk on the sidewalks because it's dangerous. I'd get out there, go door to door, and talk to people about it. A calorie burn tax. $32-ounce soda. Let's see. Oh, God, I can't even read these questions so fast. Dog Rescuer said that they read today that Ron Paul would not be allowed to speak at the RNC. Is that true? No. I mean, TMOT just talked earlier about how Ron Paul was even asked to speak there, but he wouldn't give up his principles. He told him he would not shut up about these things, so that can't be true. Why are you still reading? Yoan, shut up. Anyway, TMOT, I want to thank you for coming on. If there's anything else that you'd like to say, you got the floor, man.
All I'll say is, Matt, it is always a pleasure to talk with you. I'm going to ask that you continue to keep me up to speed on your bid to run so that we'd like to get you on our show, Ground Wars, and, you know, anything I can do to put the word out there. You know I'm going to make a video about you running, right? So doing what you do. I want to give a shout out. I met so many people in Charlotte, so great to me, but and this is not to slight anybody else, but Chuck Suter is one hell of wingman. He is a guy who is all about this movement. Matt, I don't know if you've ever met him, but you know, you two guys, you know, should meet. He's a real super guy, and he took care of me in Charlotte and in Columbia, and it was Chuck that made my meeting with Ron Paul possible. So I can't thank that brother enough, and so I just wanted to give him that shout out. And to everybody that's out there in this liberty movement, keep doing what you do. And when you come across somebody like Matt that's going to get in it to win it, stick with him all the way. And Matt, I understand how you feel about not wanting to ask for money, but it will take money to run the campaign. You don't have to ask for it, but you know, put your link on your page so that people know. They know what needs to be done in order for it to be taken care of. So you're going to have to get over that. I didn't pass such a plate in service. You know, I don't teach tithing, but I tell folk, you know, if you want to have certain things in your church, a place to meet, lights, gas, you know, there are some things that you have to do. And to win a campaign, Matt, you got to raise money. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you around. Matt, keep me up to date on your campaign.
Sounds good. Thanks for coming on, TMOT, and I look forward to coming on Ground Wars. Whenever you have time to have me on there, man, I'm all yours for as long as you want. So thank you very much, and have a good night, TMOT.
Good night.
All right. So, you know what? I will answer. Oh, Facebook is exploding. John, did you? I'm running for city council. John, did you post my Facebook or what? Wow. I think I got like 27 friend requests right there. Anyway, I will take questions for like 5 minutes if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I say we all go to room 1 so we can end the recording. It's up to you guys. Do you want to ask questions now or later? Police abuse, how would you curb it? I would arm the citizens better. I would let everyone would carry guns. I don't think that you should have to apply for a permit. I believe everyone in America should be able to carry a gun, not even concealed. I think if the police knew you were carrying a gun, most people, yeah, thanks for Ron Paul. I believe police would show more respect knowing that their life is in danger every day. Yeah, I have. And the people that do carry open know their rights pretty damn well. And the police definitely show a lot more respect to that person. That's why I'm saying more people need to carry. What do I think about Alex Jones? I like some of Alex Jones' stuff. I've called in on his show, but there's many, many things where I disagree with him. I believe that sometimes he's kind of just out there tooting his own horn and kind of trying to become a celebrity a little bit more. And I don't know. I don't like when he claims sources to something, and then when you click on the source, it's his own article that they wrote. So, any other questions? I don't know who David Carlson is. I should try to write Jesse Ventura. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be pretty cool. No, I don't think Jesse Ventura would come on my show. I don't know if he's very technically savvy. He's kind of like a Doug Weed. If we've ever seen Doug Weed try to get on here, it was pretty bad. I mean, his son was in the room and stuff. So, yeah. How can we successfully implement accountability to the Constitution aside from election threats? Vote the people out. I mean, if the people aren't going to be willing to, abide by the Constitution, elect them out in the next year. Oh, 1 second. Jesse would be in Minnesota now, I believe. He typically goes down to Mexico in the wintertime. If you're asking questions, I can't see him at the moment. 1 second. What do you think about the GOP being rigged? It's true. The GOP, I mean, people, if you're not the person that they want elected, they're going to make sure you're not elected. That's why we're fighting against them so hard. All right. Here is the link. Here is a different link. Shark Week 2012. I don't know. I like it. It'll be cool.
Hey, thanks for the speaking time earlier. I really appreciate that. But
No.
My question, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to know what your opinion is on the castle laws that were passed in certain states.
I think that they should be extended to everyone. I take it you're talking about how they extended it also to your vehicle too, about how you don't ever have to retreat and you can just fire and just protect yourself that way. You don't have to try to quick slide out the passenger door. You can just get your gun and done. So I should never comment on marijuana. I will direct those questions to the Constitution. Oh, also, Dominic, if you saw John down below, he said if you make a video, he'll help advertise it. John Yohan thinks he's some big Twitter, big shot or something like that because he's got like 10,500 followers or something. So if you want some small-time help, go to John, but right, something like that.
Well, I like support, so thanks, John. You know, I don't really look for support. I've never really found it either because I haven't looked. But it's just nice to see people, you know, just trying to help. You know, I didn't really expect that.
hiding my positions on issues will bite me in the ass. I agree. I think that's why I would probably be open to everyone. Like, if somebody asked me what my thoughts are on marijuana, I'd probably tell them that alcohol is a lot worse than marijuana. So go from there, basically. Gary Johnson.
Sorry.
Does anyone know who Gary Johnson is?
Yeah, but I don't like him. I have one question, though. I know it's, you know, I don't really like getting into social issues and stuff, but do you think that gay marriage is a First Amendment issue more than it is a social issue?
No, it's definitely a First Amendment issue. It's just personal freedom and personal rights. I personally have nothing against gay people. I'm straight. I like women. But until we take the government out of marriage, everyone can marry everyone. That's plain and simple, because they give incentives to be married. You get tax incentives, and until Sean, you on, God, you're annoying. It's just plain and simple. When the government gives advantages to one group of people and not to others, that's discrimination. So if we took taxes out of marriage and stuff like that, and we privatized marriages, I think that a church, say the Catholics, if they're anti-gay, they can choose to not marry gay people. But that also means that if you wanted, you could open your own church and marry gay people.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. It would just be privatized business again.
Yeah, that's the way I feel it should be, too. It's a personal issue because, not saying I'm homosexual or anything, you know, my uncle is, and he's a very successful businessman. And, you know, I just feel that I don't feel, why should people be treated like less than people? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It is very true. Well, guys, I went over my limit. I'm going to give you the link to room 1. I hope to see everyone over there. I'm going to go over there so I can stop the recording. I got to upload this to YouTube. Give me 1 second.
Thanks for letting me be in the chat, Matt. I really appreciate that.
No problem, Dominic. I hope to see you at the next show, too, where I do one every Wednesday night at the same time.
I know that.
Almost exactly every week. There are some times where something comes up, but here is the link down there. Go over there. Room 1, I will see everyone over there.
Sure.
I will do my sign off, and then I will catch everyone later, okay?
See ya.
As always, guys, I'm Matt Larson 10. Go run, Paul. Peace.
I've always wanted to do that.